everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I've got a short one hopefully for you today. It's on this law here. Well, it was a Senate bill that was signed by POTUS on the 21st. This is to abolish human trafficking. It was introduced on 6/7/2017. So quite a while ago, but POTUS finally signed it. It made its way through everything, and here's what it has to say. This is just the summary of it. As always, I'll put the links down below. You'll be able to check them for yourself. But this bill sets forth a variety of measures to address the prevention and punishment of human trafficking and to assist trafficking victims. Included among these are provisions concerning restitution for victims, funding of investigations of offenses relating to sexual abuse of children, grants to states and localities and other entities for victim service assistance, training of health, victim service, and federal law enforcement personnel, including through the use of a victim screening protocol by the Department of Homeland Security. Penalties imposed for slavery offenses, sex trafficking of children, and repeat convictions for transportation for illegal sexual activity and related crimes. Travel for the purpose of engaging in an illicit sexual conduct, designation of additional Department of Justice resources for prosecution and service coordination, penalties for offenses involving organized human trafficking, sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, or transportation for prostitution or any illegal sexual activity, and studies of the physical and psychological effects of serious harm to victims. Now that's what's in the bill. I mean, that's just the overview. I'll put this up here. You'll be able to go through and read the bill for yourself, and you can see that, yes, it has become a law. He did sign it on the 21st. And this is the statement that POTUS made after he signed it. He said, "Today I have signed into law S means the Senate Bill 1311, the Abolish Human Trafficking Act of 2017, the Act. The Act represents an important step in bolstering the United States government's efforts to combat human trafficking. The Act, however, raises a constitutional concern. Section 5 of the Act requires the Department of Homeland Security to take affirmative measures to avoid arresting, charging, or prosecuting human trafficking victims for any offense that is the direct result of their victimization. My administration will interpret this provision consistent with the prosecutorial discretion of the executive branch and the President's constitutional responsibility to faithfully execute the laws of the United States." Now, I thought it was very interesting that he did that. He made that exception. He said, now wait a minute. It says you're going to pretty much let everybody off the hook if they're a victim, that they'll not be held responsible for their crimes that they committed while they were a victim of human trafficking. Well, that's going to cause a huge problem in the near future, because we all know some of the people who have been involved in human trafficking then turned around and became traffickers. Like, for instance, Allison Mack. And I think you all know her story, that she was recruited by the Nexim group. Probably Keith Raniere is the one who recruited her. And then she turned around and she started recruiting others, which is a crime. So she is going to be held responsible for her crime. And what this law did, it would create a loophole. Now, I am definitely compassionate with people who have been trafficked and been forced to do things. But a lot of times what happens is once they start being trafficked, then they commit crimes because that's the lifestyle they know. And so I don't think that we can just totally exonerate people just because they were a victim. I think that's a very dangerous slope to go down. Like, for instance, if they would happen to kill somebody, you can't hold them responsible for killing that person just because they were a victim of trafficking. I think it's very dangerous to go that route. And so I understand what he's saying here. I think POTUS is saying, yeah, we understand that, but frankly, it's also important that we uphold the rule of law. And if these people are guilty of committing crimes, we really need to hold them accountable for that, even though they may also be victims. And so they're not holding them accountable for the victimization, of course, but If they then turn around and commit crimes, you can't just get off. It can't be like a blank check. Just because you were once victimized, you can get away with anything from here on out and claim, oh no, it was because of my victimization. No, I think that's what he's trying to do here. That's my impression on it anyway. Well, anyway, then he did this proclamation on National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, which is January, and this happens every year. This is not unusual. He's not the first president to do this. He did do it last year, and he's doing it again this year. Human trafficking is a modern form of slavery. It is not enough merely to denounce this horrific assault on human dignity. We must actively work to prevent and end this barbaric exploitation of innocent victims. During National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, we pledge to continue the battle to abolish modern slavery and restore the lives of those affected by human trafficking. Human trafficking harms adults and children of all ages and demographics through force, fraud, and coercion. Traffickers push their victims into demeaning forms of abuse, including domestic servitude and commercial sexual exploitation. These crimes often remain hidden because victims are reluctant to seek help for a variety of reasons, including language barriers, fear of traffickers, and law enforcement, and lack of trust. Human trafficking destroys precious lives and threatens our nation's security, public health, and the rule of law. It is a scourge on the global community. We are morally obligated to confront and defeat the abhorrent practice of human trafficking, and I am keeping my pledge to take aggressive action. In February of 2017, I signed an executive order to dismantle transnational criminal organizations that traffic and exploit people. And if you didn't know about that, yes, he did that back in February 2017. And that is one of the things that's going to take down several people because they are involved in these transnational criminal organizations. And I do have a video on that. I have made it a top priority to fully secure our nation's southwest border, including through the continued construction of a physical wall, so that we can stop human trafficking and stem the flow of deadly drugs and criminals into our country. And my administration is negotiating tough forced labor provisions in our new trade agreements, including the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA. And I really apologize, guys. My voice and my sinuses are just going bananas, and not much I can really do about it right now. So, but I wanted to get something out for you. In April of 2017, I was proud to sign into law the Allow States and Victims to Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act of 2017, landmark legislation to fight online sex trafficking. This legislation makes it easier to take legal action against individuals who use websites to facilitate sex trafficking, helping victims seek justice against the websites that profit from their exploitation. That's how they shut down Backpage.com. The FBI seized the Backpage.com site on April 6th of this year. Well, of last year now, 2018. It also clarifies that those who benefit from knowingly assisting, supporting, or facilitating an act of sex trafficking are in violation of federal law. At my direction, federal departments and agencies are ensuring full enforcement of our laws so that those who seek to exploit our people and break our laws receive the full measure of justice they deserve. So see, I think you have to take that last thing that I read where he signed the bill, and then you have to look at this and balance them out, because it's not that he's against people who are being trafficked. He has a real heart for those people, but he does need to stand for the rule of law. And like I said, he wants to prevent them from being able to use the excuse of saying, well, I was trafficked, as a way of getting off on other crimes that they've committed. Just can't have it as a carte blanche. Okay, anyway, look at these statistics. In 2017 alone, the Department of Justice secured convictions against more than 500 defendants in human trafficking cases, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation dismantled more than 42 criminal enterprises engaged in child sex trafficking. The Department of Homeland Security initiated more than 800 human trafficking cases, resulting in at least 1,500 arrests and 530 convictions. The Department of Health and Human Services modernized the National Human Trafficking Hotline. The Department of Transportation recently established an advisory committee on human trafficking to assist state and local transportation stakeholders in developing best practices for combating human trafficking. And my interagency task force to monitor and combat trafficking of persons is working tirelessly to prosecute traffickers and protect human trafficking victims. The task force has also enhanced collaboration with other nations, businesses, and survivors of human trafficking. Okay, so it goes on here, and you can read that. The document will be down below, the link for it. And then, just in case you're wondering, February 1st is declared National Freedom Day, and POTUS also had a statement on that. So he was kind of busy while everybody else was gone. He was doing a lot of things. He was signing things and putting out memorandums, and if you go to the White House website, you'll see a whole list of things he was doing. So my voice is going. I'm going to have to say goodbye, but I want to thank you all for everything. Last year was just amazing for me when it came to this YouTube channel. I was just blown away by everything, and I'm so very grateful for everyone who has subscribed to it and who has given me encouraging comments. So thank you so much, and I hope we all have just a fantastic 2019 and that we see a true end to this tragedy of human trafficking. Maybe by February 1st, we can all say it is National Freedom Day, and we'll have a different kind of freedom, one that's a true freedom from what we've been through lately. So thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later. Hope tomorrow I feel better. Bye-bye, everybody.